Hello and welcome to Connections Forum for Relationship, Expression, and Healing. This is a special edition. We are in episode 54, the second edition for 2015, and the title of our show is Creativity. Yes, with our special guest, Tamara Belland. In our show, we are offering conversations and interviews regarding the most important areas in human life, such as relationship, personal expression, and self-development, cultural development, as well as healing. The purpose of our shows is to give you inspiration and also teach you new skills with which to handle the issues which we are connected with our topics. Before I introduce our special guest today, some information about your hosts. I am Margarita Cristalotis. I am an intuitive life and business mentor who helps professional women to overcome emotional overwhelm and stress and restore their energy so they can have fulfilling relationships and watch their career flourish. To find out more about me and my services, visit my website, thecrystallotus.com. And here I hand over the talking stick to Heidi.
Hello, everybody, and I am Heidi Hörnlein, and I'm a transformational coach and relationships counselor, and also, what I did for many years, a voice therapist and voice teacher. And I work with people who don't feel yet fully realized in their lives, and I help them to explore their full potentials and to live in a deeply fulfilling, happy life with love and joy. So I'm also the founder of the cultural association Paradiso Integrale, which is a virtual and also physical space in Italy, where I welcome you as a guest and as a participant of our retreats. You can find out more about our office in our website, thepowerofrelationship.com. But now I want to come to our special guest, Tamara Belland. In short words, she is a visionary artist, a writer, and an enlightened humorist. And I wanted to tell you a little bit what she wrote about herself. She said, over the years, I went back to school many times and obtained various creative degrees. I learned how to write screenplays, manage non-profit organizations, write poetry, write for business, write for radio, interview authors on the radio, developed my singing voice. This is very nice. We should sing together. And she became a fine artist as well as an illustrator. So illustration is her forte because it's another way to communicate. And she says, I have always had an intense desire to communicate in an effective and profound way. And I'm still opening up channels to that. I come from a family of very funny people, she says. I have discovered over the last couple of years that when I speak with a British accent, I cannot actually do that. Not only can she be very funny and surprising herself, but neural pathways open up and self-consciousness vanishes entirely. This is a lovely, lovely introduction of yourself, Tamara. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait.
Wonderful. I'm hearing a little an echo. I think we have to put on earphones. So let's dive in into the. I have got to I've known you only a few months ago, and I know that you are this virtual artist, this visual. I don't know my words, my English words today. I don't know where they have gone. And I saw your drawings, and they're very nice. And I wonder, how did you find the way to draw, to paint, to be a visual artist?
Well, I think I always liked art when I was a child, and I always wanted to go to art school because I was never really happy with my artistic skills. You know, I would do something pretty good, but I guess I was kind of a perfectionist. And so eventually, I thought I would go to art school, but I thought, I don't want to be an abstract artist. I didn't know, I looked at what fine artists did, and I thought, well, that's really not me. And then one day I had my portfolio together. I had been reading the book The Artist's Way with Juliet Cameron, and I had been in a group for like a year and a half or 2 years, and I had a portfolio together. And then someone told me what an illustrator was, and I had not really known the difference. And so I thought, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. And that's more, communication is more involved with illustration. And so then I went to art school, and then for 4 years, that was quite an extreme experience, because that happened when in 2003 to 2007, so I was a lot older than everyone else. So that was, like jumping in a pool of cold water for, every day. But it was, I learned a lot of skills, and I'm, feel much more confident about my ability now. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I'm wondering now what you are doing at the moment as an artist.
Well, I'm just getting my business going. I'm doing portraits of children, as I showed you some examples there, and on Saturday I'm going to be doing portraits at a home and gardens show center, and so it's got Schedulicity is my scheduling program that's on my website. So I have 12 people signed up already for, portraits that day. So there's 3 slots left if anyone's interested. And I usually am doing portraits of children. I'm also teaching art lessons at my home through thumbtack.com. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Thumbtack, but that's a great way to, be able to provide any sort of skill to people who are looking for it. And even if you're wanting to clean houses, it's a good way. I'm not saying that anyone here would be looking for that job, but even if you're wanting to do anything, there's so many, ways to make money to support yourself as an artist online now. So, we don't have to just, wait endlessly for that day to come.
This is very interesting because, when I was about 19, 20, and I liked so much singing, and I wanted to study singing, and my parents said, no, this is not a job. I mean, and art was not considered something serious to study, So I'm wondering, was it in your family like this, or how did you, was it already accepted, making art? I mean, I still, my family, my brothers now, after I have sung so long time now, they sort of got it that I was a singer, but it was really hard to be recognized as.
Yes, I know what you mean. My grandmother was an artist, and so my grandmother, she didn't work as an artist, but she was constantly painting, making quilts, crocheting, doing creative things constantly. And so my mother, I think it skips a generation sometimes. So my mother, she didn't go that route, and so she became a nurse. And so when I grew up, except she was a nurse for just a short time, then when I grew up, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And yes, definitely being an artist was not something I would even think about doing because it was too far out there. So I became a nurse. I was a nurse for 3 years. I went to nursing school, got a degree in nursing, was a nurse for 3 years, and then realized that's not the direction I wanted to go in. So I have that background, and I'm glad to have that background. But it's taken me a long time to really be an artist in the world, and I'm not advising that. Hopefully, part of the reason I'm here, I think, is to show people, you don't have to wait till you're 58, the age that I am, before you're striking out in the world as an artist. So anyway, here we are.
This is a wonderful message. I would like to bring up the comment from Nancy Ann. She says, what a great idea, creativity as a way to communicate in different ways. I look forward to hearing more from you, Tamara. Would you like to respond to that?
Oh, thank you. Yes. creativity, is a way to communicate. Yes, I hadn't really thought about that question before. I, I, that's what illustration is. I don't know if you're interested in illustration, but that's what illustration is about. And I guess I have such a desire to communicate in all kinds of ways, and that's what creativity is. I think it's the flow through us, and we may just be communicating with ourselves, or we may be communicating in a novel, might be writing a book. So it's all communication. I think it's all communication from our true selves is, that's what we're aiming for.
Can I ask you a question there, Tamara?
Sure.
I mean, I come from a family of artists, many artists, and I'm inundated or inspired by art, and I also am sort of an artist myself. And so I want to ask you about, how did you discover that inner source of your inspiration to become that? I know you said some details about it, but how does it feel when you're in that creative mood?
Well, first I'll say that it takes me some time to get into the creative mode, and a part of me likes to, go kicking and screaming and doesn't want to get there, because it's not predictable, it's not guaranteed. There's no guarantee that it's going to all work out well. And so, part of me wants, to clean the bathroom rather than, do my creativity. So, so that's one of the things I want to talk about today, is how to, get out of that mode of avoiding art, because it is kind of scary. So, but once I get there, once I'm in the middle of doing whatever I'm doing, I know, oh, this is perfect. It's just me. I just love it. I could do this for hours, and so there is a, it's certainly worth all of the effort.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so what, I don't know if I go ahead here, but what happens, how can you get back into that stream of creativity, that river that it propels us to do great pieces of art?
Okay, well, there we go. Uh, what it is it's showing up, and showing up every day. Showing, if you can, every day. That's the best thing. We can't always show up every day, but I had a fascinating understanding this week. I was reading the book Selling 101 by Zig Ziglar. And I thought, why am I reading Selling 101? I'm now that I'm out on my own with my own business, I really have to kind of sell people on my portraits. Not everybody has seen them, or nobody, not everybody knows they want a portrait, or they don't think about their kids, capturing their kids at this certain age and how wonderful that would be. So I've got to, actually, not just describe what wonderful things I'm doing, but ask them to, would you like to do a portrait? Shall we set up a date? So anyway, that was, just the idea that you have to actually ask. So anyway, that's one of the Selling 101 tips. But what Zig was saying, just a moment, my voice, I have to drink some water. Excuse me.
So what I'm hearing, that you prepare your work by finding somebody who then would buy it.
Well, that's kind of a side note. What I want to say is, what Zig was saying was that it's important to show up every day. If you're a salesperson making cold calls, you have to show up every day. That works the best, say at a certain time. Just a moment, my voice is giving me problems.
In the meantime, I could bring up a comment from John. Let me bring this. He says, if we listen carefully to the creative spirit that is inside of us, we will create a shortcut to our peace of mind and happiness.
Yes, that's very true, very profound, and I certainly agree. So there's listening, we can listen in meditation, and we can listen, but to actually, do something with that is not always peaceful and, wonderful. So back to what Zig Ziglar was saying, is that, say he's setting up a time with himself at 7:30 every day. I mean, he's no longer living, but setting up a time every day to do your art or do whatever, write your book or whatever you're doing, because it's so easy for something to get in the way. It's everything is calling, and these things that are calling are really not important. It seems like they are. It seems like they're essential to be done right now, and that is what's going on there is fear's talking, because we want something that's we're familiar with. We want something that's guaranteed will be the same, and will comfort us because we know what to expect. But creativity isn't like that. But what Zig was saying was that once you make this commitment, um, incredible things happen. You become a great salesperson. The outside world changes, and we've all heard that sort of thing. But I was thinking, this is a creativity problem, but this isn't a creativity problem about art. The thing is, once you commit, you will be there. So just like with a baseball player, the baseball player who's out there every day, fielding balls, one day will be right there when a great ball flies through the air and he'll be catching it. Whereas if he wasn't there every day, we don't know if that's going to be happening. And that is an comparison to wonderful art that will come our way, that we will be able to do. Because wonderful art doesn't come every day. David Downton. Are you familiar with David Downton? He's a illustrator, fashion illustrator in New York, and he has I just love looking at what he does. But he said, the reams of paper has been wasted, a tree's worth, from his mistakes, things that he doesn't do well, and who would know, because it's also fabulous is what we see. So I'm just saying, you know people who think they aren't good artists or that they aren't creative, it's because they haven't shown up, and so they haven't shown up regularly. And so it's a belief in oneself issue. It's not a creativity issue. It's a belief in oneself.
And as I think, it's like everywhere, the 10,000 hours rule. When you have done one thing for 10,000 hours, then you are a master.
Yes, yes. But that sounds like a long ways off for certain people who have not done 5,000 hours.
For the big one, for
Yes.
Picasso.
Okay, yes. Those people showed up. Those people, the reason that they became great, I'm convinced, is that they showed up. Rembrandt, he was painting all the time. He did so many self-portraits because he was painting all the time. And so I would not have anyone be discouraged about, oh, it's so far away for me to ever accomplish anything. Creativity can be wonderful in, day one, if you're just, it's really supposed to be about fun. It's about getting into that joy, and it isn't a long haul up a hill. It's just enjoy. It's just like, meditating or going for a walk and looking at a bunch of flowers in a garden. It isn't it isn't a linear process. It isn't like, business. It's a different world. You've got to go in differently, a different door. There's a different door. That's why things like, fairy tales are good. That takes you into a different door than the business world. That's why, being an artist is a different animal.
Yeah. So what would you suggest to people who, for instance, have this false belief, I'm not creative, but I would like to be able to do that, but I cannot do that.
Yes, I was speaking with someone yesterday, where I'm going to be doing my portraits on Saturday, and this lady was she was making, she was at the espresso stand. And she said, I'm not creative. My mother's very creative. She does all this stained glass and paints and everything. And my, my 18-year-old's leaving, and I don't know what to do with myself after that. And so, you know, the way to get into it is by your desires. What is it that you love? What is it that you would like to be able to do? Just the fact that you would like to be able to do it means there's some desire, there's something in you that can do it. We're not all attracted to the same thing. It's because can't do all the same. We can't all do the same thing. But if if it really sounds like you wish you could do it, that's the direction to go. And a little bit at a time, or take a class. So it's very helpful to take a class. I've taken classes that are for those who can't draw, just to see what they teach in those classes and to see if people make progress. And yes, the people who can't draw in the beginning are really good by the end of the class, the 6-week session or whatever.
So, and people who still have a problem and would feel, like hiding when they are in a class, I think we could suggest, Margarita, that they come to us and have some sessions of coaching.
There we go. Certainly, yes.
Oh, great. That was a good intro line for our services too, right? Because like even this hangout here, and I see the many comments from everyone, especially Tamara or Pamela says that Tamara shares the analogy of this baseball player needing to be there every day to one day catch that ball. And I mean, that's great. Thank you, Pamela. And this is like what we're trying to do in this hangout, for example. We are here, we're showing up almost every week to catch those moments and share them. That's the similar idea, I think. What do you say?
Yeah, yes, this is how to be a player in life. That's what I call it. You're a player. You're playing with the universe. The universe is going to throw balls to you. And the universe loves you to be a player. So that's how the magic happens.
The magic, yeah. And be willing to be attracted by the magic we have hidden in ourselves.
Oh, yes, yes. That's what we're all wanting. We may think magic is for, fairy tales or whatever, but magic is all around us. If you don't mind, I'd like at some point in this program to talk about a couple tips about how to become more creative.
That would be really great to hear about.
Okay.
You go.
Is this a good time?
Sure.
Okay. So, one is it's good to take out the trash every day, the trash in your mind. So how you do that is people, the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is a really good book. It's an older book, but it's always has incredible information in it. So one of the things she recommends is write for 30 minutes a day, or 3 pages worth, just to get what's the crap that is in the top of your head, get it out on paper, so you're not thinking about all the things that need to be done. Write all that down write all the things that are disgusting to you, or things that are get all that crap out on the paper so that more creativity can flow through you. That's a really good helpful thing. Going for a walk to decrease your cortisol levels. That helps spruce you up. I would say turn off the news to some degree. The news is not the news. The news is the olds, and it's being repeated over and over. Some of it is applicable to us and is helpful to learn about. But what my challenge to you is and to myself, if I'm going to be watching an hour of news a day, I need to be listening to an hour of positive CDs, or a positive news every day, reading positive books, or if I'm doing 2 hours worth of 1 hour of a murder mystery, lots of murders and killing, we have to, that is also affects us. So I would at least balance it out, an hour for an hour. Okay, so meditation is also very helpful. And let's see, a tip for the opposite the opposite, taking out the trash is one thing, but now what? So some things to bring into your life is Julia Cameron again talks about art estates. She says to go once a week, go out and do something, go to a crafts shop or somewhere, just spend some time, an hour or two, somewhere that you don't think you have time to do it, but schedule it for yourself. That's it's about filling the well. Something that's easy to do for filling the well is going to Pinterest. You can spend a half hour a day on Pinterest, or 10 minutes a day on Pinterest if that's too much for you. So
that's a great tip. I actually read Julia Cameron's books, all three of them.
Oh, right.
And I went into the art store, and then I was spending so much time there and looking at pens and brushes and the latest gadgets and that inspired me. So I
Yes.
thank you for bringing that up. That's
Oh, sure.
awesome.
It's good to schedule that. That's as important as anything. If you're a creative person, is as important as meeting with, some incredible person, but this is you're meeting with your inner child for one thing, at these places. Let's see. Meditation again is good to slow down the mind so that we're not, racing. Our minds are not working on the non-creative aspect constantly. It helps to slow down the mind. Another thing is again, walking or running increases your serotonin, so those getting those chemicals going. And I have to talk about multitasking for a moment. Women especially are multitaskers. We've got lots to do, and we do it, at the same time. There was a great article in the Guardian. Did you read that? It was in Google Plus. It was kind of shared here and there. Did you read that recently about multitasking? Anyone? If not, I will send a link.
I read it. I shared it also because I found it very, very, very important.
Yes, it's because we think with multitasking we are, improving things, but we're not. We're going the opposite direction. So, instead of if you're leading a creative life, you are, you don't have your regular boss who is telling you what to do all day. You've got your own self, and it's with today's, information overload, the age of information. We can't just multitask ourselves to death. We can't just be online and get lost, for 2 hours going hither and thither. So it's important to know, to not get carried away on when you're online. Have a little book, an actual little book by you, and if something needs to be seen to, write it down to do it another day, or keep, on Google Plus you can have your own bookmark page or your library page, which Lisa Engels advised us to do, so that you can look at things later. But, don't just get lost, because all that leads to is frustration, and you won't be able to do your art or your creativity. So I think that's all I want to say about that at the moment, except if people are wanting to know about what to investigate online, instead of to know where to go. I want to talk about it for just a moment here. I know I'm talking and talking, but I want to compare this to going to an art gallery. So I was going to an art gallery in Madrid one time, and someone told me that's the best art gallery in the world. You cannot miss it. So I did not have very much time to go there. So I asked my painting instructor, my mentor Julia. I said, what do I do? She said, here's how you go to an art gallery that's a big art gallery. You look at the brochure, you make sure you don't miss the must-sees, and then you go into a room and you look for what attracts your eye and go look at that. Don't just, look at everything. Don't look at things that you think you should look at. Only go to the things that really attract you. And, if you don't have time to do that, write it down, put it in your bookmark, your library. But what really attracts you, what your inner child would love to be part of, that is the direction for you to go in. It's not the direction for everyone, it's not the direction for me, but it's the direction that will take you where you want to go. So anyway, I'll stop for a moment.
That was great. I think Heidi has a comment there.
Okay.
Yes, I have the comment from Pamela. I say Pamela, and she is fine with it, she told me.
Okay.
She says, so important to take out the trash, either by journaling or sometimes I speak my thoughts into my iPhone recorder for 5 minutes. It's helpful. Also, I've heard that it takes 3 hours of positive for every hour of negativity. I heard something like that too. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you for that, Pamela. That's very important.
And then we have also a comment from Bill Reed. He says, I typically realize I'm having creative constipation when I'm spending too much time away from the moment. But when I finally let go of what I think creativity is, there is no stopping the flow. Great comment there, Bill.
All right. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
And he writes a lot of more things, and I think we will come back in the comment stream because he hashtags creative tsunami, and this is really nice,
A creative tsunami.
Yeah.
Well, I can read it here. So he says, for me, creative tsunamis come in sets and swells. Sometimes I sit on the surfboard for hours, days, years, even forgetting that in order to catch that perfect wave, I better practice on a few of the little ones rolling up.
Excellent.
The little ones exist because we may not yet be strong enough for the big waves. So that's a very good comment.
Very nice. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that we're going to do in this program is give away a portrait.
This is fun.
I don't know if you remember, but I said I would give away a portrait. So we need to, I need to know who is out there. Do we have a way that I guess I could look and write down some names, and then I'm going to put them all down and then kind of just take a jab at and so who's going to win it?
We
so
can
do you
only
have go ahead.
Excuse me. We can only see who is out there and who has commented. Otherwise, and we cannot see people who will then be in the replay. So
okay, well, let me
know
look
how to do it.
Let me look here. Hang on just a second. I can see some names here. If you ladies would like to talk for a moment, I'll just write down some names. I'm outside and I can just write that down for a moment.
So what is the portrait? How does it look like? Is it do you have it?
Well, it would be a portrait of whoever would be the winner. So it can be.
Wow! Can I participate too?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think we'd better do it that way.
What do they need to do, the people? They
just need to be present. So I just need to see their names there. So so I'm going there right now to the stream. And
you should have said that before. I didn't overlook that part.
Okay.
So.
I see some names here. So okay. So I'm now I wanted to I can talk. I think I can talk and write at the same time.
Multitasking.
Oh, that's multitasking. Oh dear. Well, okay, so.
But we could talk about, because I know Margarita is also an artist, and she could talk a little bit about her art in the meantime.
Okay, good, please.
Well, my art is right now. I take photographs of crystals. and like I mean, it's amazing what one can do when one put stones and crystals. Like, you know, we have Valentine's Day on Saturday, right? So you take pictures. So I could take pictures of stones in all different combinations, and what I do with them is to create meditational images with intentions. So that's a little bit like uh, making an actual painting, the painting, which I also have done, but it's much faster. And then I can create something like some kind of structures like this using crystals and
Wow.
infuse that with the intention. I call this as a crystal orb. It's an intentional
Wow.
structure.
It's
And so
beautiful.
this is, yeah, so this is really fun. And
I,
then I coach my clients using these kind of tools, images and breathing practices and mindset to actually um, improve the focus and stay in the present moment and bring back the energy. So that's what
oh,
the art does for me.
nice.
Does that help?
Thank you. I'm glad to know all that. I did not realize what you did, all those things, Margarita. Thank you. I
And talking about music, for instance, I'm connected with music. When you begin really to listen with the whole body to music, or you do it yourself, the music, or also from a CD, this is a creative act, creative listening. This is an art.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's not just like listening on the radio and the music is in the background.
It's no, and it's also not only listening with your ears. It's listening with your whole body, with your whole being. And if you make music yourself, it's even more a creative act because
Okay.
you are using your whole body and your whole mind and whatever, and do what you do. No.
I'd like to talk more with both of you about this, afterwards, and thank you. Thanks for sharing this time. I'm glad that we had this little break to do that. Now, I want to say, I have just 5 names here, so that's if anyone is there in the audience who hasn't made a comment, please make a comment, and then I'll include you on the list if you'd like to win a profile, portrait for profiles. My idea is that you can use this for your, lower third. You can use it for your profile in Google Plus or Facebook or whatever, if you like it, that is. Um, Now, Pamela had said something earlier. She had left a message for us, um, saying she's would like some ideas about being inspired to redo her website. She's kind of gotten a little dreary, and she's wanting some creative ideas on that. Do you mind if we respond to that for a moment?
Fine.
Okay. She had said she needed some ideas. So what I would say to her is, you know, there's lots of things you can do. There's, like she and Pamela and I do communicate. We don't live too far from each other. So, you know, I could make a way out suggestion. She could make a way out suggestion. We could go back and forth, and then eventually we would come up with something, that she would like. She could, ask the people that she has a long mailing, quite a good mailing list. She can ask people what they would like to see on her website, hasn't been addressed yet. That they would really love to know. She could, have a way to connect with people. She could, another thing she could do is to, she could look at other people's websites that do similar things, and steal some ideas there. And stealing isn't the end of the world. Stealing can be good. Uh, you know, put her own spin on things. So anyway, those are a few suggestions for Pamela.
That's awesome that you addressed that. That's very good. I
Okay.
don't know if we have time. I pulled up a picture if somebody wants to see a photograph that I did. Can we do that?
Yes,
We
Oh
have
please.
yeah.
quick. Okay. So I'm going to screen share here.
Mhm. And there is Pamela. Pamela, she likes how I say it. She says, great idea about photographing your crystals. Have you heard of Kirlian photography that shows the energy of food, people, etc.? That would be interesting, Margarita. Would love to see your photo sometime. We are coming, Pamela.
Okay, so here we are. That's a thing that I did for my program, Healing Your Healing Journey, and then many people was really not understanding why they have not been heard. So I took them to a meditation inside. So you see these are turquoises, which is very healing, and aquamarine and amazonite. They're very, very good for the throat to actually being able to express what's in the throat chakra. And so I got really good responses from this image and the practices that we did. Yeah, so thank you for letting me show that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Things I have no awareness of. Yes, I will talk with you later about these things.
Yes.
So we are. Go on.
Okay, so I'm really, really excited, Tamara, that you're here and bringing up these topics, because I think this is so important for everybody, whether you're in business, in any kind of stream of life. If we don't have creativity, we don't connect with our inner source, it's not possible to actually create great things that other people want to have.
Yes, that's true. And it's more of the same. If we're in a, if we're in a regular job and we'd like to, do more and be more, creativity is one way to get, move along. And when you're doing, if you're with a day job, you don't have to be creative. It's kind of a way to kind of hide out if you want to. You get a paycheck no matter, what you do. If it's a regular, I mean, not all jobs are like that. But what I'm saying is that it's, what you do in a day job matters. How you eat, how you setting goals, it all matters. We may think, oh, the same day after day it's the same thing, it really doesn't matter too much what I do, but it does. Every ounce of effort we make towards being our true self, the universe will respond in kind. It may not show up immediately to us, to me, but anyway, just wanted to put that out there too.
Yeah, and I would say let's say, last word to that. For me, creativity is a question of decision, of choosing. Do I express myself in a creative way or not? I can do creative cooking. That, for instance, this is for Pamela. I don't follow every little piece in the recipe, but I become, more self-confident and try out other things. Or, whatever you do can be done in a creative way or in a sort of dumb way.
Yes.
And for me, for instance, when I taught a lot of singing, of voice development, I was very creative, because every person is different, and I have to find a way to get the voice out of everybody. And so it's not one way, at least not in my understanding. And I always thought this is a school of creativity for me. So
yes.
It can be everywhere, creativity.
I think that we're more creative than we think. If we may think, oh, I'm not creative, oh, I'm not, an artist or whatever, but
yeah.
I think we are. I think we need to give ourselves credit, because we are creative in some way, and it's just the idea of spending more time doing it with things we really love. That will expand.
Yeah,
That's
Margarita,
awesome. So what is your takeaway here, Heidi? And start with you. What's your takeaway from this session? Because we're at the end here.
For me, I sort of said it. I said creativity for me can be practiced everywhere. And, you gave us both good examples.
And what about you, Tamara? What is your takeaway from this? What we have talked about?
Well, I just am looking to see if there's any more people out there signing up for this portrait. So I've got 5 people. So I will do before we sign off. Oh, we're about there. So my takeaway is one thing. I'm going to just pick somebody, and it's going to be Iona Mead. Iona Mead. She's the winner of the portrait. So what I'm see the creativity is our inner child, coming into our lives, and our inner child is just aching and bursting with joy to share more of itself with us. That's it.
Great. So we are at the end here of our session, and I thank everybody who has come and made a lot of beautiful comments. And next week in Connections Forum, we're going to have Elaine Nieberding, and we're going to talk about the February blast. And here Heidi has a comment too.
From Nancy Ann, my takeaway: when I show up, my creativity shows up. Good.
Right on.
Good. So thank you very much to be in our show. And everybody who has watched, you're very welcome to connect and get more advices and maybe a portrait from Tamara.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.